Mob Psycho 100 gave the anime community one of the greatest characters of all time in Reigen. A scam psychic mentoring one of the world's greatest actual psychics, he bumbles his way through his treatments in overdramatic fashion, throwing salt as far as the eye can see, photoshopping spirits out of images, and giving massages to relax clients. It's a very strange business model, but he seems to stay afloat well enough, and even manages to become famous enough for a TV appearance in Season 2. However, this was a bad call for him, falling into an obvious setup that exposes him as a fake to the world. A young actor trails him along for 30 minutes, all while everyone else involved knows the boy is simply acting. Humiliated, Reigen loses nearly everything. Alone and agitated, he calls a press conference to get the paparazzi off his back, and gets a gift from Mob at the last second, who lifts all the equipment to the ceiling, allowing Reigen to walk off looking like a supreme being. For how likable he is, you might say things would have been better off had he not been saved though, and had to stop his sham of a business before he could rip anyone else off. He's not exactly doing nothing, given he does offer some actual services, but the core of his model is a lie. He's deceiving customers, and that is quite the wrong thing to do. But I think there's something to be said about his act, some positives that may redeem him morally, or at least paint him a bit grayer than he is, and an argument that he wasn't ripping people off because he actually provided something worthwhile. First, a disclaimer about the content I'll be covering though. This is only pertaining to Mob Psycho Seasons 1 and 2, and not the OVAs. I gave the overviews a quick look to see if they might add some more, but it seems like they wouldn't add much outside of Reigen lying in a book, so I decided to leave them out since I haven't seen them yet. Now let's get into it, and we'll go ahead and start off with the easy bits. His psychic abilities are fake, so we'll save anything to do with exorcisms and the like for later, and look at what else he offers. First off, we have masseuse services, sometimes under the guise of an exorcism or related work, but still something people do pay for every day. And not only does he offer them, but he's actually a very skilled and thorough masseuse. It's something he practices and considers himself good enough at to include it as one of his special moves, the sorcery crush. His clients who feel this special move leave completely satisfied and relaxed as more evidence of his body care prowess. And that's not even the deluxe package seen with his Aroma Runaway Express, where he goes all out with a Himalayan rock salt massage combined with aroma oils and incense, another move that proved to be extremely effective, leaving his client 100% rejuvenated. We also have a cost for this, where one of his clients pays 3,800 yen, or $36 after a 40-minute massage. A quick look over average massage prices puts the absolute low end at $30 for 30 minutes, or $60 an hour. Now Reigen's $36 for 40 minutes puts him at $54 an hour, undercutting essentially all of the competition. And given he's shown to be quite the effective and competent masseuse, that's actually a pretty damn amazing deal. His other service, only somewhat tied to spirits, are his graphical exorcisms, where he photoshops spirits out of pictures, making them look perfectly natural. This is something else he's shown to have a pretty good talent in, producing fully natural results so no one could ever tell the difference. And this one doesn't even involve heavily misleading his customers. Although it's still somewhat shammy, these are legitimate services that he does an excellent job at. The man's extremely well-rounded in his talents, and he uses them to offer actual services for his customers with absolutely glowing results. Even when it's things he doesn't specialize in, he does his research to be prepared for anything natural he might have to deal with, like reading up on fertilizer and soil, or urban legends that he'll be handling. And if it's a real-world issue, the man's committed as hell to dealing with it. It's mostly a joke, but look at the player killer. Reigen becomes a dehydrated, sleep-deprived shut-in to level up and kill them. He takes on requests that others would simply scoff off or run away from, and does them near perfectly. And given so many times he does extremely well in these excellent, yet deceit-wrapped tasks, I don't think there's much wrong with what he's doing. Before we start to defend his spiritual aspects, though, let's talk about the seance that he ran once, because, Yeah, there's just really no defending that. You could say this could give people closure in a weird way, but that's very manipulative and unsavory, and I'd rather not try to extrapolate some benefits from that. So that's one thing that I won't be defending him on here. But now we can move on to the scam part of his business, the exorcisms and spirit-related tasks. These are going to require a bit more science to defend. That's right, I said science. We're going to look into some of the legitimate benefits that humans can see from being lied to. This firstly relies on the placebo effect, roughly defined in a Harvard Health Publishing article as the idea that your brain can convince your body a fake treatment is the real thing. Essentially, it's the concept that someone receives a fake treatment, being told it's real, and it actually works under the right circumstances. This does exclude many physical ailments, however. For example, taking a fake pill for high cholesterol won't actually lower your cholesterol. This is mostly limited to psychological benefits. Additionally, the setup requires enough substance to trick the brain into believing the treatment is real. This means the surroundings should convey a complete sense of legitimacy. In medical terms, for example, it's administered in a doctor's office by someone who looks like a real doctor with all the usual precautions and so on. And even weirder, it can still be used for positive effect even if it's known by the patient that the treatment is fake, like taking a known placebo pill. But the human mind associates taking a pill with increased health, so it feels better anyway. An interesting tidbit, however, for our discussion here today, we won't need that fact much, and we'll be sticking to the typical cases where it's unknown. So that is the basics of the placebo effect that we'll need here today. And after that, you're probably already starting to put together the argument for Reigen in your head. If he maintains the illusion of legitimacy, then there can actually be some benefit in his work. So his efficacy comes down to how good of an actor or liar he is. Lucky for them, he's one of the best at both of those. Whether it's running through the usual motions or ad-libbing through a developing situation, Reigen is shown to never miss a beat, even over a full 30 minutes of acting on the spot. He's fantastic at both of those things, and does them with absolute vigor and excitement. He knows he's doing nothing, but to the people around him it appears as if he's working his ass off to rid them of a ghost. What he's actually a master at is convincing people he's doing anything else than lying, which makes him a perfect candidate to deal with customers who have spiritual concerns with no actual spiritual problem. What helps them the best isn't someone with real powers, but a man with a metaphorical sugar pill. One who can put on one hell of a show, convincing their brain that the problem is gone. And when it comes to those contrary cases, he calls in Mob, so there's no problem there either. If he didn't have Mob at his side, I'd find some fault in his practice in a world where the spiritual is real due to the legitimate danger, but his young companion saves him there. And even then he maintains the illusion, saying it's for his young apprentice to hone his skills. Now, there is one more thing that has to play into these exorcisms for his customers to get a perceivable benefit, however. They have to want it to work. They have to want to be haunted and want to have someone exorcise the ghost. This is because of a little thing known as confirmation bias. Defined by a Psychology Today article on the topic, confirmation bias occurs from the direct influence of desire on beliefs. When people would like a certain idea or concept to be true, they end up believing it to be true. In other terms, people will selectively choose the evidence that fits their theory and discard the rest. So that means these people have seen a problem in their life, like feeling very heavy or sluggish recently. And then they formulated their own idea as to why. A spirit must be haunting them. So when they go to Reigen with the false idea of a spirit haunting them, and he confirms it, it's kind of like Lelouch says, all of the conditions have been cleared. It validates their idea and they become susceptible to his treatment. Although he doesn't actually do anything spiritually, they believe that he is due to what we discussed earlier, and because they wanted to believe he was doing something. Let's also think about this if they went to a real psychic. A professional would only tell them that they're wrong and there was no spirit haunting them. That isn't the answer they're looking for, and they may just skip from place to place looking for someone to help. This is them disregarding the contrary evidence, possibly thinking things like, that guy's a sham, I know I'm haunted, why won't anyone take on my case? We even see this in the very first minutes of Season 1. The only real solution for some of these people is to be cured, even when there's nothing to be cured from. In this way, Reigen could actually be more effective than a real Esper in cases where no spirit existed, because he validates them into better health, in addition to the placebo effect he provides. There's also a very simple aspect that puts Reigen ahead of the other real and fake psychics in the mob psycho world. In Season 2, Episode 2, they inadvertently step on Shinra's territory and end up working with him on the Urban Legends case. After agreeing to help, Shinra expresses surprise about him not just taking the job, but also Reigen's price of 20,000 yen, or $188, only to be paid if the request works out. A stoic Reigen asks what his price would have been, prompting Shinra to say his starting price is 200,000 yen, and for this request it would have been 500,000. That's $1,880 and $4,700 respectively. Not only is Shinra asking for more, he's asking for 25 times more. And that's for a somewhat lesser known Esper. We can only imagine how much people like Johto would charge. Now, I'm not someone knowledgeable on business practice whatsoever, so this next section may seem a bit basic or wrong to some, but it's mostly just a simple exercise for perspective. Now, if we look at two aspects of a product, quality and price, and give each of them a quantifiable number, then we can draw a relationship between the two. Let's assume it's linear here. And then if we assume further that it's 1-to-1, i.e. a price of $10 gives a quality of 25%, and a price of $20 gives a quality of 50%, then we can see that Reigen, with a price 25 times lower than the competition, can offer a product 25 times less in quality and still be fair. Now, it's up for debate if his technical scam really offers any quality, but if Shinra was offering 50%, then Reigen would only need to offer 2% quality to be considered fair. That's absolutely insane and shows just how low his price range is for the services he gives. And here's another thing, that's his deluxe package. He has 3 stages, Trial, Serious, and All Out, with All Out being the 20,000 yen option. This means Reigen wasn't even upcharging for a job someone wanted an extra 300,000 for. He simply let her choose a package and stuck to its price. And that's even if he doesn't have any sales running, which lowered the already measly 20,000 down to 12,000 or only $113. Say what you want about his character, but never insult the man's prices. This seems especially relevant in cases where people have a heavy confirmation bias, because they would keep skipping around until they found a fake psychic who would charge them probably 10 times more than Reigen would. So even as a fake psychic, he's a very honest and decent man. So overall, I think Reigen is a pretty fair businessman filling a specific niche that others would overlook or even be less effective at if they did take on. Is he technically a scam? Yeah, 100%. But he's offering legitimate services and benefits wrapped in deceit rather than just a lie. And at the end of the day, he's a genuinely good person, and even with a lack of powers, an actual mentor to one of the most powerful Espers of all time. I try not to include anything outside of his business here because it's not super relevant, but it would be criminal of me not to at least mention how much he redeems himself again and again when it really matters. Also, remember that this video is just a bit of fun looking at a very jokey character in a very crazy anime. So please don't take this as an actual message that it's okay to go out and rip people off with scams. Is there some validity in real life to psychological and spiritual scams? Yes, probably a similar practice could have a beneficial effect. But I'm no expert to say if that benefit is worth the deception or how right or illegal it is as well. Reigen is a very special case in a very insane anime that we just don't see in real life. So basically, don't use me as an excuse to do stupid things. Anyway, that's all we'll have for this video. So if you liked it, leave a like down below so I know. If you disliked it, same thing, so I can look at that ratio and see what to make in the future. You can also leave me a comment letting me know your opinions on this video, on Mob Psycho, what you thought of Reigen, anything like that, because hearing how you all respond to this and your input is one of the best things of what I do, and one of the things that really keeps me going. So leave all those comments down below. There's a link to my Discord in the description below as well. If you want to reach me directly, talk to some other anime fans, hang out, different cool things like that. Other than that, I think that covers everything, except, I almost forgot it there, but if you're new, consider subscribing for more videos like the ones on screen right now. I promise there's some quality in there, and some philosophy and more in-depth discussion than the bit of fun we had here today, although I do like how this video turned out. Anyway, I'll stop rambling, let you get back on with your J. You almost mispronounced day there, but I'm not doing this again, because as we know, I only have the highest quality outros, and I can't keep this up anymore. Okay, so stop rambling, let you get back on with your day. I'll just say thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you again soon. I swear one day I'll make a decent outro.